Hello and welcome to an introduction to graphic design. We're going to discuss the principles of graphic design. First of all, let's have a look at what these principles are. There are 5 principles to graphic design. First is the uses of design, then colour theory, layout and composition, perspective, and finally typography. During this video, we're only going to cover the uses of design. Okay, so first up there is informative design. Design can be used to deliver information to people in a simplified way. Take the image here on the right. The map already tells you that we're talking about Britain, and the red points show a route between London and Newcastle via Liverpool. However, the design lacks any sort of starting or end point, so the person looking at this map doesn't know in which direction the route has been taken. By simply adding an arrow, you're now telling the user that the direction is south. This helps to lead us into infographics. Infographics are now widely used to display collected information or data in a more attractive and easier to follow way. The image here on the right is an infographic of Fisher-Spooner's Emerge track, and if we have a look at a closer view, we can see that it's a collection of data that is clearly set out into sections to allow the user to be able to read the data and understand it in a more clearly visible, appealing way. This leads us to simplified imagery. Simplified posters are now used more and more commonly so the designer can communicate a message or even a hidden message about a piece of popular culture like a movie, a TV show, or even a book. Here we see a collection of images of designs for a vinyl cover of Fisher-Spooner's We Need a War. If we have a look at a close-up here, we can see that the one on the left is referring to a radar screen and the one on the right is a sight on a rifle. These are both referring to the war in the actual song's title. Next we see a simplified film poster. This is of Ridley Scott's Prometheus. The icon in the centre is a simplified image of fire, referring to Prometheus being the titan that was struck down by the Greek gods for stealing fire and giving it to the human. From this point we'll have a look at visual language. Now if we have a look at the letters in the centre here from A to I, we can see that the basic visual language that the designer is trying to convey. A represents both positive and negative effect. B shows a mirrored effect. C shows bold and light, thick and thin, or fat and skinny. D is overstated and understated. E represents big and small. F is opaque and transparent. G is smooth and rough. H shows stable and unstable. And I represents falling and rising. Each of these can be used to describe what the designer is trying to say. This leads us up to design being a process. Like art, design has a process, and here we see the process of an illustration of the actor Zach Braff. First off, we see the line art, followed by some basic shading. Then we see the completed line art with the shading, and finally we see it in the full colour stage. Design follows a very similar process, again starting with the line art, next coming with the colouring. Here we've added a graphic of a sunburst. Then we've added the initial graphic for the service. We've added the next 3 services. And finally we've added the logo at the top. Finally we show how design is purposeful. Design has a unique format that explains how. How to pay for items on a website by showing a shopping cart. How to navigate through a website with icons. How to exit a building in the event of a fire, and even how to assemble a bookcase from a popular Swedish furniture store. And as we've just covered, how to convey information. The most important element to design is it allows you to communicate concepts, ideas, or functions to a specific audience like genders, age groups, nationalities. Here we see a 4-stage process of designing a business card. Here we show the template to show the designer exactly how they lay out the business card. next shows the areas in which the designer can add information. The next stage are the cards with the added information within the templates. And finally, the completed business card. Okay, that's all for part 1. Thank you for watching. The next part will be the colour theory, and we should have that online soon. Okay, thanks. Goodbye.